this photo looks like this. But in a few minutes, I will turn it into a cinematic shot step by step. So no presets. Now, the first part about editing is you want to get yourself a cup of coffee because you don't know how long it will take you to edit your photos. Sorry, I didn't make a coffee making montage, but cheers. Okay, so let's get into Lightroom. I've selected some photos to edit and we're going for the first one. So we will start with basic corrections. We have the lighting panel and you have light, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites and blacks. So the first thing you see is the light slider. You can change the lighting in your photo, but we're going to leave that for now. And also a quick pro tip, if you double tap, it will change back to its original state. So usually what people do is for the contrast is you slide it up, but for a cinematic look we are going to slide it down. And let's go for minus 40. The next thing is highlights. So what you can see here is there's already a lot of light coming from the sky, so we want to maybe pull it down a little bit, maybe around minus 20. So for the shadows I want to go to plus 30. So the photo now is pretty well lit, so what I want to do with the whites is I want to pull it down a bit. And let's go for minus 50. Oh, that's 58. Let's go around minus 50. Because we have increased the shadows, I want to decrease the blacks, because then we can also get some of that contrast back into the picture. And for this, we will keep it at minus 40. Now this is the tone curve and we will come back to that one later in the process. So the next thing is the color tab. And when you pull it down, you can see all the colors next to each other. And you have color tone, saturation and luminance. But I want to have a better view of the colors, so what I'm going to do is click on the drop down menu and then I will start with the saturation. And what I usually start with is just pull down the saturation of all the colors. Now that leaves you with a black and white photo. So now I'm going to bring back the colors bit by bit. So we start with reds and then we'll end with the magenta parts. Okay, so for the reds, I want to have it on minus 40. So orange is a pretty dominant color in photos, so I want to keep that at minus 50. That also is for the yellows, and if I pull back the yellows you can almost see that it looks like that all the colors are already back into the picture. So what I want to do for this one is I want to accentuate it more. So I will put the yellow around plus 20. And the greens I will also keep at minus 50. So there's not a lot of blue in this picture, but if I pull the aquas up more, it will have an effect more on the skies in the photos. So I will also keep that at maybe around 30. Then we're going to the blues. Also, what I said, not much blues here, but I will keep that in the middle. And for purple and magenta, I will just keep it at the same as it is. So I'm going to leave it all the way back. So what I'm going to change now is the luminance. And because it's spring, I want some colors to pop a little bit more. So what I'm going to do for the reds is I'm going to slide it up around plus 40 or 39, 40. And the orange as well. And the yellows as well. Greens I will pull back to -30. Also for the aquas, because it is spring, so we have a lot of light in skies, I will pull that a bit down to -20. And I'm going to leave the rest for now. So you still have the color tones, but in this part of the process you want to leave that alone and maybe come back to it later, but you want to see the other results first. So now we are at the color grading part, and at this part we will make the photo come alive. So you have the midtones, the shadows and the highlights. And what we're going to work on first is the shadows. Now to make your photos look cinematic, you want your shadows to be on the blue or greenish side. And let's see what we will go for in this one. Let's maybe go for a teal kind of look. And now for the midtones. And because we have put a teal kind of look into the shadows, I want to counter that teal look in my midtones. And we're going for a little bit warmer because it's still spring. So let's go for maybe a bit of orangey kind of look. And then also the saturation, we pull it down a bit or up a bit. Well, let's keep the saturation at 50. I think this is already starting to look like maybe an old film cinematic look. Now for the highlights, I want to go, I think, for a greenish look, but not too much because we already have the teal in the shadows. So we're going to go for a little bit of lime, but we keep the saturation a little down. Maybe pull up the luminance a bit. I think we have a good solid base for our cinematic photo right now. So the next part is the effects tab, and there you have texture, clarity, dehaze, vignette and coral, but that is called, of course, is called grain. So I'm going to leave the texture part, I'm going to leave alone. Now for the clarity, I'm going to pull it up a bit. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at +40. That looks cool. So what dehaze does is it makes your picture lighter or darker. And for this one I want to make it a bit darker because I will still change it a little bit later in the tone curves. And I'm going to leave the vignette as it is. So now we're back at the tone curve. And we are going to go from the first one to reds, greens, blues, and this one we're going to leave alone. Now explaining the tone curve. You have your shadows here, your midtones here, and your highlights here. These are more for the blacks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull up the blacks a bit. And what you will see already is it's starting to look like a cinematic photo. Then I'm going to pull down the blacks a bit. Pull up the midtones a bit so we don't get a really dark photo. And I think I'm going to leave the highlights where it is at the moment. This is really where your creativity comes in creating your signature style. So what you want to do always is put on these points so you can adjust the points apart from each other. Now what you see, if I'm going to pull this one down, it makes the photo really green. All the greens are coming back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it back a little up. The midtones in the photo, I'm going to see what it does if I pull it down a bit or up a bit. I'm going to, yeah, we're going to leave it here for a moment. And then the highlights I'm going to bring back up slightly. to go to the greens. Now I want to leave that one alone, but we're going to play with the blues for a moment. And the only thing that I'm going to do for the blues is I'm going to go to my midtones and pull it up a bit. Not too much, but just a bit. Now, this was the before and this is the after. So what I would suggest is when you have made one edit, you try it on another photo to see how it looks. So what we're going to do is copy this edit, and then we're going to go to a next photo and we're going to paste it and see what it does. So once you have seen that your edit works on different photos, you can further stylize the one photo. So what we're going to do is a couple tweaks and put on some masks. Okay, so now I have given all the photos their own character and style with just one base edit. Now the next thing I really want to do is, because I like this edit, is I want to save it as a preset. So what you're going to do is you're going to tap on the preset button, hit the plus icon, give it a name. Let's call it At the Movies. And that's it. That's how you make a cinematic looking photo in Lightroom. Now I hope you were able to follow along with the video and edit your photo into a cinematic looking photo. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you being here with me today, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one.